Hi chat, welcome in everyone. Happy Monday to ya. How we doing tonight? Hello Cosmic. Skitty and Meatballs night, chat. But we're gonna make it a little spooky. Like. Gonna be turning our meatballs into spiders. Been thinking about how I want to plate this too. We'll see. Wow, why is that set so low? We got 6 or 7 degrees to go in the water there. While we listen to the song Perfect Espresso. There is no X in the word espresso. For some reason, my brain always wants to put one there. Like, both when I say it. Usually I don't have a problem when I'm writing it, but it used to be an issue for me. So I gave people the option of just buying their own sauce, whatever. I'm going to roast tomatoes to make my own. I've already got the oven preheating to 450 for that. $450 since I'm using a conventional oven. If I had a convection oven with a fan in there, you can go somewhere from 400 and 425. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Yay, extra beeps. Water ahead of time here tonight, chat. Not gonna be, searching around for my water glass in the middle of the stream tonight. I debated making garlic bread too. Went to Trader Joe's today. Don't go to Trader Joe's very often. Even though there's 2 of them in Santa Rosa. Thank you for joining me, everyone. Cheers. Happy Monday to you all. Hello there, Will. Just in time. We're going to be quartering these. I was, as much as I am not a fan of Trader Joe's, and I went there mostly as something different today, some of their produce prices was sort of impressive, considering recent changes. Like, I might be going to Trader Joe's now if I need myself some lemons or limes. And just a couple of them, but actually need them. They still wrap everything in plastic, and I can't stand that, but... Here's one that got me today. I was driving, it was actually lightly sprinkling throughout the area today. And I saw someone transporting brand new, like unused, never filled, I assume, wine barrels. They're wine barrels. And they were wrapped in cellophane. Hi, Nan Reader. That's a plum tomato. That's not a Roma. Someone got their tomatoes mixed up when they were filling that basket. Or they got a mutant in that field. Or one in the wrong row. Hey, they can see me. Welcome, welcome. Happy Monday to ya. Cutting up Roma tomatoes and a couple of plum tomatoes, maybe, to make some tomato sauce. How is everyone else out there? What's new? What's happening? Salt in them. If you had the time and you're doing this ahead of time, you could even salt these and leave these on the counter while the oven heats, rather than how I have it, just doing it now with the oven already hot. And spritz them all with olive oil. Well, if that's how you make holy water, how do you make baby powder? Tomatoes in the oven. Well, that was the thing I had to rush and get started. The market still hate historic down days? It used to be it always went down during certain, if only out of like respect for mistakes they made in the past. Welcome in, Master of Slits. Supposed to be following a recipe here, so I should maybe pull up the recipe and read what all I had ChatGPT put together here.
And this is the garlic for our meatballs. Keep that separate. And this is going to be the garlic for with our sauce. A little oil in the pan, a little cooking oil, sunflower oil. Heats up already, cast iron. That should have been hot enough. It looked hot enough. And you can sort of tell. Like, I've never been accused of doing this, but I have had chefs, like, initially instruct me, like, you can never tell how hot a pan is by looking at it. Yeah, you can, sort of. You can tell how viscous the oil is. Throw a bit of salt on these onions as they've hit in the pan. We've got about another 12 minutes on the tomatoes down in the oven. sort of trying to get the oven stuff done before we get into the pasta stuff, because that way it helps even out the amount of heating that's happening in the house, because it's going to get hot either way, but having the oven on while you have lots of water heating, not a good combo. That's like overdrive. I assure you I will be sweating enough as is. Hi, JK. I'm still thinking it. Twitch needs to take on Etsy. I was reading an article the other day about Etsy, how Etsy is struggling these days. It's become like a location where people are drop shipping tons of imported goods these days, apparently. And I mean, just the whole, creating products on location with the video with streaming, like, they could just destroy Etsy like overnight if they just built a store into Twitch. Turn them into nothing but dropship. Master Splits, I have a calendar down below of dates of what I've got planned and coming up ahead. You're welcome to give ideas in the Discord, because here in chat, I'm not going to act on it immediately and I'm not going to remember. Thank you, Will. Well, please enlighten us as to what that is. I'm not familiar with Hoover stew, which there may be a reason for that. Everyone okay with music level tonight? I toyed with music levels again. Thank you, Will. I'm just sort of chilling here until the tomatoes are done, I think. I'm going to continue cooking the onions, but the onions are going to be done before the tomatoes are. We don't want to get these completely caramelized, though that may be delicious. Got leftover chicken stock on the other side of the stove here, so gonna bring that up to a boil. We might use that if we need to add a little liquid to get the tomatoes to blend. Add our garlic to our onions for our sauce. And since that's often just residually cooking, we'll go in with some dried oregano and thyme. Whoa! That's enough oregano. Thyme. Bay leaf. It sounds delicious. Freeze-dried basil. Asian meatloaf. How many Asians does it take to make a meatloaf? That's a dark joke, isn't it? Welcome in Dances with Felines. Hoisin instead of ketchup. Okay. Are you planning on cooking it longer so it sort of like thickens? Like, I think that's sort of like the real thing about ketchup on top is you gotta have it like dehydrated, like thickened, like a glaze almost. Though I can see hoisin going on just by itself. I'm just sort of curious. Hoisin's probably almost thick enough all by itself. Nice. Are you doing anything else, like changing veggies up? I don't know, putting Asian scallions in there? Korean or Vietnamese or... The ones I couldn't find for Wednesday. Speaking of that, why don't we end our vote for the week here while we're waiting and chilling. Why is it all the way up there? I have a feeling that Spaghetti has won this. Spaghetti and Meat MRE has won this one. So I guess that's the plans for Wednesday. I do have this in the mail. They told me it's going to be here tomorrow. I hope it arrives tomorrow. Because if it doesn't arrive tomorrow, I don't know if it's going to be here for the stream. But I already bought this and with the lead it had early on. But I only bought one of them too, so I have to stretch the single one for the entire dinner. Let me quick edit this as a winner. So there is our winner for Wednesday. We'll get a new vote up here soon. And that timer was our tomatoes. Let's take a look at those. They could use a couple more minutes potentially. I'm going to give those another 10 minutes, but since I'm going to give those another 10 minutes, I am going to switch gears and start making my meatballs. And everything in plastic at Trader Joe's. Even the parsley. I will give them they're skipping the rubber band. Oh no, there's still a rubber band. You need the rubber band while it's sealed in a bag, right? And so now we're picking parsley. Need quite a bit for this recipe. Hey, Shanavision. Okay, I think that's probably enough parsley. I'm gonna waste another plastic bag to save the rest. Welcome, Justice Rice. Okay, that's a bit more than the recipe asked for, but I'm putting it in there anyways. More freeze-dried basil. The rest of my freeze-dried basil. Dried oregano. Dried thyme. We got actual garlic in there. We're at a little granulated garlic too. It's not in the recipe, but dried garlic gives you different flavors than fresh garlic. You combine them, you get super garlic. Right, chat? That's how that works, right? Super garlic. Now we need to add, let's do our breadcrumbs and everything else here to start too. Let's take a look at our tomatoes first. I'm still going to give those another 5. It goes along with the whole crushing garlic thing. When you crush or disturb garlic, it creates chemicals, the acidic chemicals that bother your eyes with onions. The same sort of things going on there. Disturbing the cells, it's a protective thing. It creates these chemicals that are not liked much more by other things than by us, but they're also different flavors. And crushing garlic increases that flavor. That's why I always crush my garlic. And then dried garlic is just really crushed, really ground up garlic. So it's sort of like that to the next level. Breadcrumb. Yes, mansplainer in chief here. Well, I need a half pound of pork, so this is a 1 pound pack. Let's cut it in half. Jovian. Welcome, Raiders. How we doing, folks? Where are we coming from? What were we streaming? I'm cutting packages of meat in half. I needed half a pound of pork and half a pound of beef. So there we go. Welcome, Raiders. I'm Chef JT. I do rather chill every other day or so, 4 days a week, dinner at home streams. We're working on a spooky meatball and spaghetti dish tonight. The recipe's in my Discord. I've just sort of started this up the last couple of weeks. I'm utilizing LLMs, giving them ideas for what I want, and then putting recipes in my Discord and doing cook-alongs based off of that. I used to try and do cook-alongs a long time ago and did all the writing, everything out myself, and it was just way too much work. But this has been really great. But welcome in, everyone. Happy to see you. Welcome, Jovia Juvian. Thank you so much for that raid. I'm still not sure how to properly pronounce that. It's a nice tongue twister. Megredi. Rayua. Welcome, welcome. Happy to have you all with me. We'll get rid of our meat board. Well, that wasn't necessarily my plan for tonight, but it does line up nicely. Yes, Master Splits. And so now this just gets mixed together with my hands. I didn't really wash my hands. I did clean the knife, though. And for those just joining us, I'm just cooking dinner for myself, so I try to be somewhat sanitary, but I'm just cooking for myself. I do have quite a history and background in cooking. All that info is down in my About Me section down below. I appreciate the history, Splits. You've done that on several nights and it's been cool. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, we got a couple of cameras in here. You know, they're just... One of them's not even following me right now. I don't know why. Let's see if I can get it following me. Well, now that one's not following me and this one is. Oh, hey, that camera's not on. Alright, so now that we got these nicely mixed together, we're going to combine our dry and wet ingredients here. Did this recipe have any egg in the meatball? I'm gonna have to check here before we combine these two. Let's do that a little bit better. Ooh. What time of spring rolls are we like? Oh, rice wrappers. Yeah, rice wrappers are probably not going to Or do you mean you had like some sort of rice paper, like parchment? Like, if you're using rice paper, yeah, those aren't going to cook all that great. That's usually more of a steam or a poach or boil it and wrap it while it's still flexible. But that's what we're all doing here. That's what I'm doing every time. I'm just sort of experimenting. Like, I'm cooking 4 nights a week. Do you really think I'm practicing all these recipes and stuff on top of streaming? Like, I ain't got that kind of time. Let's see, double check. Do we have egg in here? No. Good. Good. So now meat in with our dry stuff. We'll give this another mix up. Those tomatoes are still in the oven, I realize that. Welcome, Pharaoh Terminator. So there's our tomatoes. Been sitting in the oven roasting for a bit. Oh well. Garlic on bottom, it's not mixing in well. It could be that I didn't chop it up finely too, that it's giving me a little bit of issue. Okay, now we're gonna start breaking these down into individual meatballs. But before I do that, I'm gonna wash my hands and add the tomatoes into the sauce and get that cooking. £3 pounds of ham, that's a lot of ham. And the hope is these aren't completely burnt on bottom, which they seem to be nicely peeling away, so I think we're safe there. We do want... I'm okay with some char. Like, the char and the bitterness of the char, I think actually does good for this sauce. If you get a little bit in there. But it's one of those things you can quickly overboard. It is still warm. I grabbed that not even thinking that was going to be hot at all. It just came out of the oven. $3 for 3 pounds. Wow. That is a deal. Well, pending it's edible, but... Where do I want to put these meatballs while we're making them? Where am I going to rest my bowls? I think I'm going to use my scoop for these tonight, rather than trying to squeeze out individual balls. I'll give them a quick roll. What are we toasting with, Master of Splits? What is that a champagne toast? And you say 20s toast, and I just picture what's his name, the actor, that one scene where he's toasting with champagne. Even though it's not that period at all. Cookie dough scoops are amazing for many things. Not just cookie or ice cream. You see, Head of Broccoli's got me calling them cookie dough when they're ice cream scoops. But they're great for cookie dough too. And if you don't know this, the secret to these, there is actually a number on this. This one's a 30. I don't know if you can see it, but it's printed on the band right where my fingers, the tip of my finger is. And that's how many scoops you get out of a, I think it's out of a gallon. $30 scoops. I forget exactly what that number is out of, but it's out of a set thing. So you can figure out exactly what your scoop is by that number. What I'm doing here is smoothing the bottom mostly with my hand while I'm sort of constraining it with my thumb and forefinger. Sort of the same as what I do with the dough balls when I'm rolling them on the counter to sort of seal them. I'm just doing it with my hands. Don't want any big fissures in these, so work them until those disappear, until the protein smears and it sticks together. These meatballs are definitely not the ones I made last time. The last ones I made had so much moisture in them. They were so wet, so soft, absolutely like fall apart tender. But that's not saying that they're better than these. They're just different. Like, I was talking about that when I was making those. Like, is this really how I like my meatballs to be like? Like, they're delicious. Do I have to have only one meatball in my life? Now for our spider eyes. We got our meatballs made up. I gotta open this thing of pimentos. It just doesn't want open. You're beginning to annoy me. Bottle. Jar. There we go, just barehand it. Strong man. Do I want to use tweezers for this? I think so. I think that's probably going to be the easiest way to do this. And so now we're just embedding eyes in our spiders. Hi, Nomu. Happy Monday to you, Noimu. Hopefully the happy people have been treating you well. paranormal experience. I don't know that I have. I don't think that I have. I've done some silly things on Halloween in the past. Touring abandoned buildings that I shouldn't have and things like that. That was a long time ago now, though. It was like a long time ago. I hope you get some nice rest, Farrell. Thanks for hanging out with us. ChatGPT wanted me to use whole peppercorns as the eyes instead of... I was like, what can I use for eyes that are going to go good in a meatball that people actually want to eat? So I corrected it to pimento. So pimento's all my fault, whether it works out or better or worse. And for the record, chat, I realize that I've contaminated this jar of pimentos entirely with the meatball juices, and so I would not be using these pimentos for anything raw after this point. Just a... like, if you're worried about that, you can easily take, a little bit out at a time and not recontaminate the jar like I am. But with pickles, that's just an excuse to put some chicken in the leftover brine. Is that all of them? I think I got all of them now. Yeah, woodhead of broccoli. There is, I forget which one of the chains, but one of the chains is notorious for, brining their chicken in leftover pickle brine, or making their own pickle brine for it. And so, it's typically a situation where you're frying it anyway, so it's going to get breaded. And if it's fried, a little bit of like turmeric yellow color. Yellow-orange color. Oh, hey, I was going to actually get these tomatoes going. I didn't really get these tomatoes going, did I? Let's turn the flame back on the stove over here. And I am going to add some of my chicken stock here to that party. Just a little bit. Like, I know that it's not traditional for tomato sauce, but we need a little bit more liquid in here, and why add water when you can add chicken stock? There's a little bit of liquid in there now. We're gonna blend this up here in a few minutes without the bay leaf. Set these over here. Make a quick note on the top of the lid that there's nasty stuff inside of that, not just peppers. Now see, I just put the jar back in the fridge because I'm here at home. Commercial kitchen, you probably would still do that, but it isn't legal. Glass is no in commercial kitchens. So like jars in the refrigerator. It's also a general rule in commercial kitchens that you never put things back in their original container. It's a great standard rule for people that never FIFO their stuff. That never, like the dude with the 20-year-old sauce in the bottom and just keeps pouring new stuff on top. If I were growing my own tomatoes, I would not do this. This is my favorite way of doing it from store-bought aromas or generic sauce tomatoes. If you notice, those tomatoes were not perfectly in ripe aromas, even though they were old enough to be. Oregano's fine dried. Basil gets this astringent flavor that's horrible when you dry it. You should never... I had some dried basil and I've worked my way through that. I'm probably never buying dried basil ever again in my life. fresh basil is just so much better and so much different. At that same time, I'm not Mr. Basil lover. It's a little too close to anise or a licoricey like flavor. It's not a licorice flavor, but it's close enough that my mind makes that link. And I'm someone that likes putting fennel in his stock. Got a moment here. Let me take a look here and see how many types of basil we got in this book. Oh, maybe not many. Or is maybe herbs separate? Oh, no, there we go. Let's see here. We've got blue spice basil. We got Genovese. We got Emily. Dark purple opal. Chinese sweet. Purple ball. Lettuce leaf, caprao, lemon, lime, cinnamon, African, a.k.a. mesa, that's probably another African one, sounds African, Vitin Tor, Bayesian, Mamalo, Thai. That's a recipe. Cardinal basil, and then we get into beans. There are lots of veggies out there. This is just one seed company that I don't necessarily advocate over any others. They do have a beautiful catalog, though. So we're going to take that deliciousness and we're going to give it a blend here now. Minus the bay leaf. That one also, I don't know if they still do, but they used to have a store like right downtown Petaluma. They also are a major supporter of the National Heirloom Festival, which used to be always in Sonoma County, but apparently roams around now. We weren't good enough for them anymore. And we're going to give this a blend, so I'm going to mute for a little bit. And so there we have a chunky sauce, mildly chunky. I'm going to give that a strain into the pan. Tiramisu. How to turn 10 tomatoes into one dinner. There's an onion in there too. I'm gonna rinse out this pan now, and we're gonna use this for our frying. Wait for that to dry out before we add a bunch of oil in there. We're using frying oil too. How are you not dry yet? Should probably get some water heating up too. I'm doing a more traditional cook on the pasta tonight. Breaking out the old school pasta pot. Welcome in, Crawled Up. Crawled Alt. I like the name. It's a fun play on words. So let's sear some. I'm gonna put them eyes down first. That way I can try and get a decent sear on their, so to say, face. Probably not going to do all these, maybe do 2 batches of these. Oh, no worries, Crowdhelp. I didn't even notice. I am happy that it did work. I am going to turn the camera control off because my bot has been wonky and not been doing that well lately. So I'm happy it worked for you. I'm working, for anyone that's new in tonight, I'm sort of transitioning between two platforms for running my bot in the program and stream. And so I have one bot that's sort of like moving on and changing things, and I'm like more focusing on another one, and so things are breaking because I'm not focusing on that one. Hopefully we'll get the bot thing sorted out here in the next couple of weeks. Oh no, we have splittage. We have splittage. I lost an eye on that one. Maybe lost 2 eyes with that one. This one they stayed in. No peta broccoli? I made some not too long ago. Yorkshire puddings are really just like mini Belgian waffles. Or not Belgian waffles, now I'm forgetting the name of it. I've made one of those on stream too that I can't remember. Yes, Dutch baby. They're just baby Dutch babies. Yeah, I used muffin tins, and you put a little bit of, you have a almost pancake batter. It's a relatively eggy, low flour, very wet batter. And then you take a muffin tin, you put lard in, like an ounce of lard or some other heavy fat in each of the cups. You melt it, you get the whole thing really ripping hot. You pull it in, and while it's still hot, you pour in the batter into the individual cupcake tins, and then you throw it back in the oven. But it does work well with meat dishes and stuff like that, where you want, it's like it's like eating your meat dinner, whether it's a prime rib or what have you, along with, like brioche, but it's like individual, for yourself made brioche sort of things. It's so rich and eggy, and it's just sort of like, how do we take this and make bread even worse for you? like the perfect garlic slice. I don't know where my eyes went in this one. I may have lost them. Round 2. Oh, dad joke. Oh, dad joke. Crowd, I suggest you give it a try. Like, I mean, it's to make. I think I made almost a dozen of them. Like, it's maybe 1 or 2 eggs and some flour and dairy. Like, it is not an expensive. Even though I'm sitting here talking about it being like this rich and heavy thing, it's not all that pricey to make. Why do they call prickly pears and they're cactus? Thank you for the follow. Ads. How we doing tonight, subscribers? Pretty sure it's like a actual like cactus flat leaf. Though to be honest, I haven't worked with it. Like I've worked with cactus, but as far as prickly pear, usually it's become like pre-made product. Pear-shaped leaf. Okay. Yeah, like I'm saying, I haven't worked with the actual stuff all that much. I've had a couple of bottles of perfect puree of it, though. Why, thank you, Master of Splits. Plants are pretty amazing that way. There's quite a few of them that do that. Like, it sort of boggles my mind that there's vines out there that will do that. Like, they'll plant themselves in the ground, they'll shoot out a vine, it'll go out, say 5 feet, like maybe loop over a fence or something, touch into the ground and restart. Alright, this is going down in the oven. Turn that oven off now. The oven's still at 450, but turned it completely off now, so it's just going to go down from here. There's some nasty vine on this side of the house over there. Over that way. That I've had the landlord, like, I moved in and it was taken over. It took over my roof. I complained to my landlord. He eventually got around to someone tearing it out. And it's back. Like, I have a feeling that the landscaper that was handling it, both I think was trying to rip them off, but also was saying you gotta cap it with wax in order to prevent it from ever growing again and continue, and I don't think any of that was kept up. I used to care about my yard, but I've gotten to the point, and after living here for over a decade, that if he doesn't care about his own yard, I'm not going to strain myself worrying about it. Okay, so meatballs are set. They're sitting hot in the oven. We got our sauce ready. We're going to move this oil so that it's not in any danger of getting around the boiling water or anything like that. We'll give that a lid. Push that off the back of the stove. Sauce here where it can be warm. So now all we got to do is boil some pasta, chat. Oh, we got to do olives. Let's prep some olives. Olives are outside. And so we want to take, there's a whole olive, the nice rings, slice them in half. And these are going to be our spider feetsies. Those are all good olives, just not for what I want to use them for. We want the nice round ones for this. None of those bits and pieces. Okay, that should be enough for our first plate. I don't think I'm going to do this artistic olive plating with more than just the first initial plate.
It's almost like the cheap black olives have their own flavor of their own, like... I don't know if I like Kalamatas or not. Half the time I eat Kalamatas and they're way too salty. Which, I like salt with everything, and I'm saying they're too salty. What do you think, chat? Do you think olives or Kalamatas too salty? I like the green ones too, but I didn't like the green ones as a kid. I don't know if I really started appreciating the green ones until I was like, I don't know, maybe mid-20s. Like as a kid I was okay with them, but they were a little too strong. It's a good thing that you can't find the blue cheese ones easily or cheaply, because otherwise I'd be eating those all the time. I love blue cheese stuffed green olives.
Ooh, scramble being easy. Only doing 5 letters. Nice. Though I do have to say, working on recreating my own version of the Scramble challenge in chat has made me realize how horrible I am at scrambles. Like, I am atrocious at scrambles. I'm just realizing, did they put the cheese in this recipe in the... I bet you they did. Yeah, there was supposed to be cheese in those meatballs. There's a joke there too, but yeah. I haven't tried Trader Joe's pasta before. I mean, I know it's pasta. It shouldn't be too hard or different. They're just hiring someone to make it for them anyways. But we're going to try out Trader Joe's spaghetti tonight. Once that water gets to a boil, whenever it does. You do have to give Trader Joe's credit for their labels and their... Like, they have some beautiful artwork on their foods. Like... They had 6-packs cans of pineapple juice right by, like, as an impulse buy. And that one's sort of like, I sort of think of pineapple juice as like typically more of a, you know, bar mixer thing than something people pick up to drink on a normal basis. That's interesting. There's another supermarket chain here in Sonoma County, Oliver's, and they have their own branded wines through someone here locally. And I haven't really noticed those here the last year or two. I wonder if they discontinued those with that. Yeah, pineapple juice. I'm not a fan of pineapple. Like, it almost always has this like metallic flavor to me. Like, fresh pineapple doesn't have that flavor. Like, it's like it's pulling the metal out of the cans or something. It quite possibly could be, but yeah, I don't like. I can always tell when it's a bar-made drink and they're using canned pineapple juice. Ugh.
Absolutely head of broccoli. It isn't. It's just. It is acidic, Jovial, but it's also got a enzyme in it that breaks down things. Pineapple is one of the ingredients you find very often in marinades, and it's because the enzyme in pineapple juice or in pineapple will actively break down proteins, and so you don't want like. It's great as a marinade, but you don't want to use it as like an overnight marinade. It's like a couple hour at most marinade type thing. It's also an anticoagulant. Yeah. There's something in it that breaks down proteins is about where my brain is at with that. You know, it's that's about all I need to remember, I think. Why are you not boiling yet, water? You're bubbling a little bit. I probably would have been smart to get more chemistry as a kid. I in high school was in like a sponsored engineering like separate set of courses from the standard curriculum. And so instead of taking the typical high school chemistry class, I took 2 years of physics. Well, I was saying a lot of people do use it as a marinade, and they do, but for shorter periods. Like, you don't want to leave it in there like overnight. I'm going to purposely not toss my spaghetti in the sauce tonight, just for reasons of plating it. What I'm thinking of doing is putting sauce on the bottom, so it sort of bleeds through to the sides and the top, and spaghetti in the center, so it looks a little more white, a little bit more web-like. A little more spidery. And then we'll put the spiders on top of the pasta. Maybe we can toss the pasta with a little butter, but I don't know if that's really going to be necessary since I'm plating it right away. I'm not eating all the pasta though, so let's toss some of it with butter.
slice a couple of pads of butter. Butter pats. Where is the origin of butter pat? Is it maybe the wooden? Are they wooden pats that they use when they cure butter? The paddles that they use for working butter when they... Not that I think they're still using those for commercial butter in the U.S. these days. U.S. butter junk is junk. Butter, salt, pepper, and MSG in the bowl that I'm going to toss the pasta in. It could be. Like, I have no idea where it came from. I just remember seeing the artisan French butter makers using these wooden paddles to help work the water out of the butter. Almost here waiting on that water to boil. It's boiling sort of, but I want it to be like boiling. Boiling. Flame went out underneath the sauce. I voted today, chat. So we're supposed to pat the butter. We got boiling water now, chat. Going in with our skitty. All of it. It's really great at adding like satiation to something, making something feel more satiating. Forgot to salt the water properly too. Let's throw about a tablespoon of salt in there too. It's all gravy. Now, see, I was under the impression that it was already naturally there, but I mean, it is a salt, so that sort of makes sense. Since salts are crystals, and crystals sort of help form other crystals. I don't know. It's too sciencey, and I've told you all earlier that I'm very much not a chemist. Yeah, I had a broccoli, but that has a lot more to do with translations and people wanting their language to be slightly different while the same at the same time. And they do that with, the Italians do that with broth too, whether it's broth or stock. I didn't add any MSG in here, but I did with the pasta. Or rather, I did with the pasta over here. In the bowl over here. Yeah, accent isn't the real stuff. This is the real stuff. Japanese brand. I got a little bit of monosodium glutamate in the house. I don't know if I have a greater stock of salt or MSG in the house, like which is going to last me long. There's more salt in the house, but rather which is going to run out quicker. Because I've got like 12 pounds of salt in the house. And that's not counting the jar over here in the corner. Next to none of it's made with seaweed anymore. It's sort of like, it's probably on par with like horseradish. How much of it is real versus like vast majority of horseradish. Unless you see someone actually like grating it with the special like grater in front of you, the vast majority of it is just a combination of some sort of horseradish and mustard. Yeah, wasabi. Sorry, did I call it horseradish? I tend to throw horseradish and wasabi together. Wasabi, unless it's like basically made right in front of you, it's probably not real. I just consolidated all of my salts recently. I used to have a whole bunch of different, like, small, different flavored salts and stuff like that. And I had just bought some more bulk Morton. And so that jar in the corner there is a box of Morton, a bag of real salt. If you're familiar with that brand, it's sort of a pricey, nice sort of sea salt. And then there's a whole bunch, there's a whole bunch of other salts in there that are relatively just salt. Yeah, it's very different product. How are we doing here on our pasta here? Pasta is looking good. I think we are set. Even more pepper and salt. Smell the butter. I love that smell. That smell. One of my grandmothers used to always make like buttered noodles whenever I visited. And that smell of just buttery pasta. Oops. We were doing sauce first. So we got our sauce on the bottom, our pasta over the top. I've already got the cheese out somewhere. Do our Parmesan cheese over the top of this. We need our meatballs. Chilling down here in the warm oven. Or should I say our spiders? Nothing like trying to burn your finger on the pan straight out of the oven. I got them dirty with the meat earlier. And then we've got I don't know if this is going to be better for this or not. So there we've got our spiders, chat. Wondering what I could have done to make that sell that a little bit better. I think it helped doing the sauce on bottom, but I don't know if it really sealed the deal there. Yeah, this one sort of looks like a crab, doesn't it? And if you want, you can add a little more sauce. I charred my finger. Not really, but... Alright, folks, that's where I'm going to leave it for tonight. That is our dinner for tonight. Gonna be back here on Wednesday. Gonna be doing spaghetti again. But I'm going to be doing spaghetti as an ingredient. I bought a MRE. It's supposed to be here by Wednesday. Hopefully it's here for Wednesday. Should be interesting. I haven't ate an MRE before. I'm not a military kid. So we'll see what I can cook up with a spaghetti MRE. I actually don't even know if it's gonna come. It's a meatball in meat sauce MRE. I don't even know if it's gonna have spaghetti for sure. So that should be interesting. And we got future stuff in the calendar down below for the weekend and next Monday after. We've got next Monday is going to be a black bean soup and cornbread cook-along. But the recipe for that's in the Discord. I'm going to hang out in Discord tonight as I always do. If you want to stop in and say hello, you're welcome to. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. I hope you have a great start to your week. Weekend's over, unfortunately. Get to work, folks. Have a great week, everyone. Good night.